A detective arrested the city's most dangerous mafia boss during a midnight raid. When she pulled down his collar to check for injuries, she froze. The tattoo on his neck was identical to her brother's, the brother who vanished 16 years ago and was declared dead. The rain hammered against Ava Russo's bulletproof vest as she pressed her back against the cold brick wall. 3 floors above, yellow light spilled from cracked windows, the kind of light that always meant trouble in the Bronx at 2 a.m. All units in position, crackled through her earpiece. Ava's finger hovered over her radio. 23 officers surrounded the building. Inside was Matteo DeLuca, the ghost who'd turned New York's underworld into his personal chessboard. For 18 months, she'd chased shadows and dead ends. Tonight, an informant's tip had finally paid off.
Detective Russo.
Her partner Martinez whispered from beside her. We're green across the board. She should have given the order. Should have let SWAT breach first, like protocol demanded. But something burned in Ava's chest, the same fire that had pushed her through the academy, through every condescending comment about being a 28-year-old woman in a man's world, through every closed door. I'm going in, she said. Ava, wait. But she was already moving, gun drawn, boots silent on wet pavement. The building's back entrance hung open, lock shattered, exactly as the informant promised. Too easy, whispered a voice in her head. She ignored it. The stairwell reeked of mold and desperation. Ava climbed quickly, Martinez covering her 6. Second floor. Third floor. The wooden door to apartment 3C stood slightly ajar, music thumping from within. Old jazz, the kind her father used to play. She kicked it open. NYPD. Hands where I can see them. The apartment erupted into chaos. Men scattered like roaches, diving for weapons, scrambling toward windows. Ava's training took over. She identified threats, calculated angles, moved like water through the room. And then she saw him. Matteo DeLuca sat calmly at a table in the center of the chaos, a glass of whiskey in his hand, watching her with eyes the color of winter storms. He didn't run, didn't even flinch when officers swarmed past him, tackling his associates to the ground. He just smiled. Detective Russo, he said, as if they were old friends meeting for coffee. I was wondering when you'd finally find me. Something about his voice made her skin prickle. Ava raised her weapon higher. Hands on your head.
Now.
So aggressive, but he complied, lacing his fingers behind his head with maddening slowness.
I'm unarmed.
Search me if you'd like. Ava moved forward, hyper-aware of every detail. The expensive suit that didn't match the rundown apartment, the tattoo peeking from his collar, the way he held himself like a king even in defeat. She holstered her weapon and pulled out handcuffs. Matteo DeLuca, you're under arrest for. I know my charges, detective. His eyes never left hers. Do what you came to do. She grabbed his wrist, yanked it down, and snapped the first cuff on. The metal clicked with satisfying finality. As she reached for his other hand, she noticed dark stains on his collar. You're bleeding, she said, professional instinct overriding caution. Minor disagreement earlier. Occupational hazard. Ava pulled down his collar to check the wound, and her world tilted sideways. The tattoo on the right side of his neck was impossible. A sun with feathers radiating outward. Each line precise, each detail exactly, perfectly, impossibly identical to.
No.
Her hand trembled. The room seemed to tunnel around her, sound fading to a distant buzz. She'd seen this tattoo before. She'd traced it with her 7-year-old fingers while her little brother giggled, their mother calling them down for breakfast. She'd looked at it in photographs 1,000 times, trying to remember the boy who disappeared when she was 12. Something wrong, detective? Matteo's voice cut through her shock. You look like you've seen a ghost. Ava's throat closed. She forced herself to breathe, to think like a cop instead of a sister haunted by 16 years of what-ifs and maybes. How did you get that tattoo? The words came out strangled. For the first time, Matteo's composed mask cracked. His eyebrows drew together. Excuse me? That tattoo. On your neck. Where did you get it? I've had it since I was a child. Why does, he stopped, studying her face with sudden intensity. Why do you care? Because my brother had the same one. Because Leo Russo disappeared from a beach in Sicily 16 years ago, and they said he drowned but never found his body. Because my father said that tattoo was a guardian symbol, protection against evil, and he drew it himself when Leo was 3 years old. But Ava couldn't say any of that. Not here.
Not now.
Not when 20 officers were watching and Matteo De Luca was supposed to be nothing more than a caller, a career-making arrest, a monster she'd spent 18 months hunting. Move, she ordered, finishing the cuffing with mechanical precision. But her hands still shook. Martinez appeared at her elbow. We got 4 others. Good haul,
Ava.
You okay? Fine, the lie tasted like ash. Get him processed. I'll meet you at the precinct. She watched as they led Matteo away. He glanced back once, his expression unreadable, and Ava felt the impossible weight of his gaze, familiar in a way that made her chest ache. As soon as the apartment cleared, she pulled out her phone. Her fingers flew across the screen, searching old photo albums she'd digitized years ago. There, a picture from her 11th birthday. Leo grinning gap-toothed beside her, his neck clearly visible. The sun and feather tattoo stared back at her. Identical. Ava's knees weakened. She gripped the table Matteo had sat at, trying to process the impossible. Leo had been 6 when he vanished. He'd be 22 now. Matteo De Luca was 22. Coincidence, her rational mind insisted. Lots of people get similar tattoos. But that voice in her chest, the one that never stopped whispering, what if he's alive? What if we miss something? What if? That voice was screaming now. Ava looked at the rain-soaked window, at her reflection staring back, a detective who'd built her entire career on finding truth, no matter how buried. She'd found Matteo De Luca. But what if she'd actually found her brother? Ava didn't sleep. She sat in her apartment watching the city lights blur through rain-streaked windows, the photo of Leo burning a hole in her phone screen. At 6 a.m., she gave up pretending rest would come and headed to the precinct. The holding cells buzzed with the usual morning chaos, drunks sleeping off hangovers, petty thieves complaining about coffee quality. Ava walked past all of it, her badge getting her through 3 checkpoints until she reached the isolated wing where high-value targets were kept. Matteo De Luca sat on a metal bench, looking utterly unbothered by the concrete walls and fluorescent lighting. Someone had given him coffee. He sipped it like he was at a cafe in Milan. Detective Russo. He stood when she approached, almost courteous. Couldn't stay away. Sit down? Ava's voice came out harder than intended. He obeyed, curiosity flickering across his face. You look terrible. Didn't sleep? I need to ask you something. She gripped the bars between them. That tattoo. You said you've had it since childhood. Do you remember getting it? Matteo's jaw tightened. Why does this matter to you? Answer the question. No, his eyes turned cold. I don't remember getting it. I don't remember much before I was 7. Trauma does that. Erases things you'd rather forget anyway. Ava's heart hammered. What kind of trauma? The kind that's none of your business. He leaned back against the wall. What's this really about, detective? You arrested me. You won. Why do you care about some ink on my neck? She should have walked away. Should have followed procedure, filed her report, let the DA handle prosecution. Instead, she heard herself say, I need a DNA sample. Matteo laughed, a sharp, humorless sound. For what? You have my fingerprints, my blood from processing. What else could you possibly need? A comparison test. The silence stretched between them like a wire pulled taut. Matteo's eyes narrowed. Comparison to what? That's not your concern. It absolutely is my concern if you're... He stopped, understanding dawning across his face. You think I'm related to someone. Who? Some criminal you're building a case against? Another dead body you need to identify? I'm not discussing an ongoing investigation with a suspect. I'm not a suspect, detective. I'm a convicted man walking. My lawyers will have me out by Thursday. He stood again, moving closer to the bars. So, whatever fishing expedition you're planning, You better move fast. Ava pulled a DNA kit from her pocket. She'd grabbed it from evidence storage on the way in. Give me a cheek swab. Voluntarily. Or I'll get a warrant. You won't. No judge will approve a fishing warrant without probable cause, and I like his tattoo, doesn't qualify, but despite his words, Mateo extended his hand through the bars. Give it here. She hesitated. You're consenting? I'm curious now. Something flickered in his expression. Was it fear? You're acting insane over a tattoo. Either you've lost your mind, or he swabbed his cheek himself, handed it back. Or you've found something that scares you. Ava sealed the sample, hands steadier now that she had what she came for. Where were you born, Mateo? According to my records? Naples. But I don't remember it. What's your earliest memory? His face shuddered. A room with no windows. Being told my new name. Learning that disobedience meant pain, his voice dropped. Why are you asking me this? Did you have a family? Before? Detective. Just answer the question. The outburst echoed through the cell block. Mateo stared at her, really looked at her for the first time. His gaze traced her face, the shape of her jaw, the color of her eyes, the way she held herself. I had a sister, he said quietly. Or, I think I did. I dream about her sometimes, dark hair, always laughing. But when I asked about her, they beat me until I stopped asking, his hands clenched. That was 20 years ago. She's probably forgotten I ever existed. Ava's vision blurred. She blinked hard, forcing back tears that had no place in an interrogation wing. My brother disappeared in Sicily, she whispered. 16 years ago. He was 6 years old. He had a tattoo exactly like yours. Our father drew it himself. They said he drowned, but they never found his body. The color drained from Mateo's face. He gripped the bars so hard his knuckles went white. What was his name?
Leo Russo.
Mateo's breath caught. For 5 seconds, neither of them moved. Then he shook his head violently, backing away from the bars.
No.
No, this is some kind of trick. Psychological warfare to make me cooperate. I'm not falling for. The DNA test will prove it. It'll prove nothing. But his voice cracked. You're a cop. I'm a criminal. We're not. We can't be. I'll have results in 48 hours, Ava said, surprised by how steady she sounded. Then we'll know. She turned to leave, but his voice stopped her. Detective? If it's true, he swallowed hard. What happens then? Ava looked back at the man who might be her brother. The brother she'd mourned. The brother she'd never stopped searching for, now trapped behind bars wearing a stranger's face and a killer's reputation. I don't know, she admitted. I honestly don't know. 48 hours felt like 48 years. Ava threw herself into paperwork, interviewed witnesses, did everything possible to avoid thinking about the envelope sitting in the lab with her name on it. But every time she closed her eyes, she saw Leo's 6-year-old face. Every time she opened them, she saw Mateo's hardened stare. On the second night, Martinez cornered her at her desk. You haven't eaten in 2 days. What's going on?
Ai fine.
You're not fine. You've been acting weird since the arrest, he lowered his voice. Does this have something to do with DeLuca? Because his lawyers are already circling, and if there's any irregularity in how we... There's no irregularity, the lie came easily now. I'm just tired. But when Martinez left, Ava pulled up everything she could find on Mateo DeLuca. The records were frustratingly sparse. He'd appeared in Naples at age 7, taken in by distant relatives who died in a car accident when he was 10. After that, foster homes. Juvenile detention at 13. By 16, he was running numbers for the Rossi family. By 20, he'd orchestrated a takeover that left him in control of half the drug traffic on the East Coast. Nowhere in those files was a boy named Leo Russo. Her phone buzzed at 11 p.m.
The lab.
Results ready for case #47-2891. Pick up at your convenience. Ava's hands shook as she typed back. Coming now. The precinct was nearly empty this late. Her footsteps echoed through hallways as she made her way to the basement lab. Dr. Chen waited behind bulletproof glass, the manila envelope in his hands.
Detetive Russo.
Working late. Always she tried to smile.
Failed.
Is that mine? Yes, but he hesitated. Are you sure you want to see this? The results are unusual. If you need time to, just give it to me. He slid the envelope through the slot. Ava's fingers trembled as she tore it open, pulling out the single sheet of paper that would either confirm her sanity or destroy it. DNA match analysis. Case hashtag 47-2891. Sample A. Russo. Ava reference. Sample B. DeLuca, Matteo comparison. Probability of sibling relationship, 999%. The paper slipped from her fingers. Dr. Chin said something, but his voice sounded underwater, distant and distorted. The fluorescent lights were too bright. The air too thin. Detective, do you need to sit down? She ran. Past security, through the lobby, out into the cold night air where she could finally breathe. Her car was somewhere. She found it, sat in the driver's seat, and stared at nothing. Leo was alive. Her baby brother. The one who'd followed her everywhere, who'd cried when she went to school without him, who'd held her hand during thunderstorms, was alive. And he'd become a monster. Ava didn't remember deciding to go back inside. Didn't remember the elevator ride down to holding cells, or badging through security. But suddenly she was standing outside Matteo's cell again, and he was already awake, sitting on his bench as if he'd been waiting.
You have the results, he said.
Not a question. She held up the paper. Her hand was still shaking. Matteo stood slowly, walked to the bars. Under the harsh lighting, she could see the resemblance now. The same curve of the jaw their mother had, the same stubborn set to his mouth their father always complained about. How had she missed it before? What does it say? His voice was barely a whisper. 999% match.
You're
my brother. The words hung in the air between them. Matteo gripped the bars, his face cycling through emotions too fast to name: shock, denial, something that might have been hope before it died. No, he shook his head. No, there's been a mistake. Run it again. There's no mistake. Then they're lying. Someone tampered with the samples, or he slammed his fist against the bars. I can't be Leo Russo.
Leo Russo drowned.
He's dead. You didn't drown. Ava stepped closer. Someone took you. Someone kidnapped you and made you forget. Made me forget? Matteo laughed bitterly. You think I chose this? You think I wanted to become? He cut himself off, turning away. You should go.
Leo.
Don't call me that. He whirled back, eyes blazing. That boy died 16 years ago.
I'm Matteo DeLuca.
I've killed men, detective. I've ordered executions. I've done things that would make your precious Leo vomit. We are not the same person. But you are. Ava's voice cracked. You're my brother. I've been searching for you for 16 years. Do you know what that did to our family? Mom stopped leaving the house. Dad became obsessed with finding answers. I became a cop because I couldn't save you, and maybe I could save someone else. We never stopped looking. We never stopped hoping. Then you were fools, but his eyes were wet. Hope is a disease. It gets you killed in my world. What happened to you? Ava whispered. Who took you? Matteo was silent for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was hollow. They called themselves the serpents. They took children, orphans mostly, but sometimes they'd acquire others. We were given new names, new histories. The tattoo marked us as property. He touched his neck unconsciously. I was 7 when I finally stopped asking for my real family. That was the day I became Matteo. And before that, do you remember anything? His jaw clenched.
A beach.
Someone singing. And he looked directly at her. A girl who promised she'd always protect me. Ava's knees buckled. She'd said those exact words the day before Leo disappeared. She'd been 12, feeling grown up and responsible, promising her little brother she'd always keep him safe. She'd broken that promise. I'm sorry, she choked out. I'm so sorry I couldn't save it. Matteo's walls slammed back up. You want absolution? You won't find it here. I'm not your redemption story, detective. I'm a criminal who happens to share your DNA. That's all. But when he turned away, Ava saw him wipe his eyes. The lawyers are coming tomorrow, he said quietly. I'll be out by Friday. After that, stay away from me. For your own safety and mine. Ava left without another word, the DNA results clutched in her hand. She'd found her brother, but she'd lost Leo forever. Ava's childhood home sat in Queens, unchanged except for the garden her mother had stopped tending years ago. She stood on the doorstep at midnight, key in hand, knowing she shouldn't be here, knowing she had to be. The door creaked open. Inside, everything was frozen in time. Family photos covering every wall, Leo's elementary school artwork still on the refrigerator, his bedroom door closed like a shrine. Ava hadn't been here in 6 months. Visiting hurt too much. She made her way to the attic, where cardboard boxes held 16 years of desperate searching. Her father had labeled everything meticulously. Sicily police reports. Private investigators. Psychic consultations her mother's doing in the darkest days. Embassy correspondence. Missing children databases. Ava pulled down the box marked Leo, personal items, and carried it downstairs. In the kitchen, she spread the contents across the table. Baby clothes, drawings, report cards, and photos. Hundreds of photos of a smiling boy who'd never gotten the chance to grow up. Except he had grown up. Just not as Leo Russo. She found what she was looking for in a photo album labeled Sicily 2009. The family vacation that had ended in nightmare. There was Leo on the beach, building sandcastles. Leo holding gelato, chocolate smeared across his grin. Leo standing beside their father, neck clearly visible.
The tattoo.
Ava pulled out her phone, comparing it to the photo she'd snapped of Matteo during processing. The match was perfect. Every feather, every ray of the sun, identical down to the smallest detail. It's really him, she whispered to the empty house. A floorboard creaked upstairs. Ava's hand went to her gun instantly, instinct overriding exhaustion. Who's there? Footsteps. Slow, deliberate. Someone had been in the house when she arrived. Ava moved silently toward the stairs, weapon drawn. The steps descended, black shoes, expensive suit, gray hair.
Dad.
Vincent Russo froze halfway down the staircase, a box in his hands. He looked older than Ava remembered, lines carved deep around his eyes.
Ava.
I didn't expect you. I could say the same. She lowered her gun. What are you doing here? It's past midnight. Couldn't sleep. I come here sometimes. When your mother's sleeping pills finally kick in, he continued down, setting the box on the couch. Bad nights, I go through the files again, looking for something we missed. Guilt twisted Ava's stomach. Dad. I know what you're going to say. That it's been 16 years. That I should let go. Vincent's voice was rough. But a father doesn't stop looking for his son. Not ever. Ava's throat tightened. She looked at the photos spread across the table, at the DNA results folded in her pocket. What if I told you I found him? Vincent went very still. What? What if I told you he's alive? Her father's face cycled through hope, disbelief, desperate need. Is this, Ava, if this is some kind of... The Mafia boss I arrested 2 days ago. Matteo De Luca, she pulled out the DNA results. He's Leo. Vincent snatched the paper, hands shaking as he read. The box he'd been holding crashed to the floor, spilling photographs. He read the results once, twice, 3 times. 999%, he breathed. My God, he's alive. Dad, there's more. Where is he? Which hospital? Is he hurt? Does he remember us? Vincent was already reaching for his phone. We need to tell your mother. We need to. He's in police custody. Vincent stopped. What? He doesn't remember being Leo. He was kidnapped, brainwashed, forced into the Mafia. He's been Matteo De Luca for 16 years. Ava forced the words out. He's a killer, Dad. He's hurt people. A lot of people. Her father staggered backward, sitting heavily on the couch.
No.
No, not my Leo. He was gentle. He cried when he found a dead bird in the yard. He wouldn't. They broke him. Remade him. Ava knelt beside her father. The boy we knew is gone. But he's alive, Vincent gripped her shoulders. That's what matters. We can help him. Get him therapy, lawyers. He doesn't want our help. I talked to him. He's accepted what he's become. Then we make him remember. Vincent stood abruptly, pacing. We show him photos, tell him stories. He's our son, Ava. He's your brother. We don't abandon family. Even if that family has a body count. The question hung heavy between them. Vincent's jaw set in that stubborn way Ava had inherited. Especially then. A sound from upstairs made them both freeze. Soft footsteps, uncertain. Vincent. Maria Russo appeared at the top of the stairs in her bathrobe, confused. I heard voices. Ava? What are you doing here so late? Ava and her father exchanged glances. How do you tell a mother her dead son is alive but became a monster? Mom, Ava started. You should sit down.
Why?
What's wrong? Maria descended quickly, eyes darting between them. Someone tell me what's happening. Now. Vincent picked up the DNA results with trembling hands. Maria. It's Leo. We found Leo. The joy that flooded Maria's face was heartbreaking in its purity. He's alive? Where? Can I see him? Vincent's voice broke. He's not the boy we remember. I don't care. I don't care what he's been through, or what he looks like now. I want to see my son. Maria grabbed Ava's arm.
Take me to him.
Please. Ava looked at her mother, at the hope and desperate love in her eyes, and knew there was no protecting her from this. Tomorrow. I'll take you tomorrow. She pulled out her phone, showing the photo of Matteo. But Mom, you need to prepare yourself. This is what he looks like now. Maria stared at the image. The hard eyes, the expensive suit, the tattoo on his neck. Her fingers traced the screen, touching the face of the son she'd lost. He has your grandmother's nose, she whispered. And Vincent's chin. It's him. It's really him. She started to cry. Deep, wrenching sobs that came from 16 years of grief finally cracking open. Vincent wrapped his arms around her, and Ava held them both, 3 people who'd spent 16 years in separate prisons of guilt and loss. Upstairs, in Leo's frozen bedroom, childhood dreams waited like ghosts. Tomorrow, they'd face the truth of what those dreams had become. Tonight, they mourned the boy who'd drowned, and feared the man who'd survived. The explosion shattered Ava's apartment windows at 3:47 a.m. She jolted awake as her bedroom filled with orange light and the screaming wail of car alarms. Her first instinct was earthquake, but the acrid smell of accelerant told a different story.
Bomb.
Ava rolled out of bed, grabbed her gun from the nightstand, and low-crawled to the window. 3 floors below, her car was a burning skeleton in the parking lot, flames licking toward neighboring vehicles. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Next time it won't be empty. Stop talking to Matteo. The serpents. Ice flooded her veins. They knew. Somehow they knew about the DNA test, the conversations, everything. A second text arrived. A photo of her parents' house in Queens. Taken tonight. The timestamp showed 3:30 a.m., 17 minutes ago. Ava was calling her father before the fear could paralyze her. Pick up, pick up, pick up.
Ava.
Vincent's groggy voice. It's almost 4 in the morning. Get Mom and get out of the house. Right now.
What? Why? Dad, please.
Trust me. Get in the car and drive. I'll explain later. The urgency in her voice must have penetrated. She heard rustling, Vincent waking Maria, confused voices. We're going, he said. Where should we? Precinct. Come to the precinct. Use back roads. Keep your phone on. Ava was already pulling on clothes, strapping on her shoulder holster. Don't stop for anything. She hung up and dialed Martinez. This better be good, Russo. Someone just bombed my car. I need protection details on my parents, safe house protocols activated, and… Whoa, slow down. Bombed? Are you hurt?
I've fine.
But the serpents are targeting my family. She grabbed her badge and keys. It's connected to the DeLuca arrest. How is it? Martinez paused. What aren't you telling me? Not over the phone. I'm coming in. Ava took the stairs instead of the elevator, weapon drawn, checking corners. The lobby was chaos. Residents in pajamas, firefighters arriving, police cruisers blocking the street. She batched her way through, commandeered a patrol car, and broke every speed limit getting to the precinct. Her parents arrived 10 minutes after her, Maria clutching a hastily packed bag, Vincent's face granite hard. Ava, what's going on? Her mother demanded. Why are we running from our own home? Because I put you in danger. Ava led them to a private conference room. When I started investigating Mateo, I didn't realize the serpents would. The serpents. Vincent's expression darkened. The organization that took Leo? They run him. Control him. And now they know he's talking to me. Ava showed them the texts. They're warning me to back off. Maria's hand flew to her mouth. They'll kill him. If they think he's betraying them. He's in custody. He's safe, but even as Ava said it, she wondered. Mateo's lawyers were getting him released today. House arrest with private security probably paid by the serpents themselves. Martinez burst through the door.
Safe house is ready.
We can move them within the hour. He looked at Ava. But I need to know what we're protecting them from. The whole story. Ava glanced at her parents. Vincent nodded. Mateo DeLuca is my brother. The DNA test confirmed it. He was kidnapped by the serpents 16 years ago, turned into one of their soldiers. The words tumbled out. Now they think he's compromised. They'll either kill him or use my family as leverage to keep him in line. Martinez stared. Your brother. DeLuca is He ran a hand through his hair.
Jesus, Ava.
Does the captain know? Not yet. You have to tell him. This is a massive conflict of interest. If anyone finds out you've been investigating your own brother. I didn't know he was my brother until after the arrest. Doesn't matter. It looks dirty. Martinez lowered his voice. You need to recuse yourself from anything DeLuca-related. Immediately.
He was right.
Ava knew he was right. But stepping away meant leaving Mateo vulnerable, meant trusting other cops who didn't know he was Leo, who wouldn't care if the serpents silenced him permanently. I can't, she said. Ava. He's my brother. I'm not abandoning him again. Before Martinez could respond, Ava's phone rang. The precinct's main desk.
Detective Russo.
You have a visitor in holding. Mateo DeLuca. He's asking for you specifically. Says it's urgent. Ava's stomach dropped. He's being released today. Why is he still? Release was delayed. Judge wanted additional review of the house arrest terms. He'll be here another 12 hours at least. 12 hours. 12 hours where Mateo was a sitting target in a cell. I'll be right there. She turned to her parents. Martinez will take you to the safe house. Don't contact anyone. Don't tell anyone where you're going. I'll visit when I can. Maria grabbed her arm. You're going to see him? To see Leo? Yes. Tell him. Her mother's voice cracked. Tell him we're coming for him. Tell him we never stopped loving him. Ava nodded, not trusting her voice. The holding cells were quieter now, dawn breaking through high windows. Mateo stood at the bars, tension radiating from every muscle. They're coming for me, he said without preamble. The serpents. They know I talked to you. How do you know? He held up his hand. 3 of his knuckles were freshly split. Guard on the overnight shift. Came in an hour ago. Said he had a message. Started asking questions about what I'd told you. When I wouldn't answer, he got physical. Rage flooded Ava. Which guard? Gone now. Shift change. But that's not the point. Mateo's eyes were desperate. They'll send someone else. Someone more permanent. I'm a dead man, detective. Not if I protect you. You can't protect me. He slammed his hand against the bars. You couldn't protect me 16 years ago. What makes you think? He stopped, shock crossing his face at his own words. The silence stretched between them. I'm sorry, he said quietly. That wasn't fair. It was true. Ava stepped closer. But you're right about one thing. I can't protect you alone. But Maybe we can protect each other. What are you suggesting? Help me take down the serpents. From the inside. You know their operations, their leadership, their secrets. Give me everything, and I'll make sure you survive this. Matteo laughed bitterly. You want me to betray the only family I've known for 16 years? I want you to come home to your real family. His expression crumbled for just a moment before he rebuilt his walls. And if I refuse, then you die in here, and the serpents keep destroying lives. Ava pulled out her phone, showing him a photo of young Leo. This is who you were. Don't you want to find out who you could have been? Matteo stared at the photo, at the innocent boy he'd been, and Ava saw the moment something broke inside him. Tell me what you need, he whispered. Ava set up the interrogation room like a war council. Whiteboard covered in names and connections, files stacked high, recorder running. Matteo sat across from her, hands cuffed to the table more for appearance than security. Start with the tattoo, Ava said. You said it marked ownership. Explain. Matteo's jaw tightened. The serpents don't kidnap random children. They're selective. They look for specific traits, intelligence, physical capability, family backgrounds that won't generate too much investigation. He touched his neck. When they choose you, you get the mark. It's their signature, their brand. How many children? Over the years? Dozens. Maybe hundreds. His voice went hollow. Most don't survive the training. The weak ones disappear. The strong ones become soldiers, enforcers, lieutenants. The exceptional ones, he paused. They become bosses. Ava felt sick. And you were exceptional. I didn't want to be. For the first time, real pain cracked through his facade. I tried to fail, those first years. Tried to be weak enough that they'd let me go. But failing meant punishment. Meant watching other kids take the beatings I'd earned. So, I stopped failing. Who runs the serpents? Who's at the top? A man named Domenico Salvatore. He's been in power for 30 years. Untouchable. No one's even gotten a photograph of him. Matteo leaned forward. He's the one who ordered my kidnapping.
He attended my
initiation. What's an initiation? Matteo's hands clenched. When you turn 13, they test your loyalty. You're given a target, usually someone who's betrayed the organization. You have to. He stopped, swallowing hard. You have to prove you're one of them.
Permanently.
The implication hung heavy in the air. Ava kept her voice steady. You killed someone when you were 13. Yes.
Who?
A man who'd stolen from Salvatore. They told me his name. Put a gun in my hand. Watched while Matteo's voice broke. I threw up afterward. Cried for hours. Domenico said that was normal. Said it would get easier. Did it? He met her eyes.
Yes.
That's what should scare you, detective. It got easier. Ava forced herself to stay clinical, to push emotion aside. I need locations. Warehouses, meeting places, safe houses. Everything. For the next 2 hours, Matteo drew maps, listed addresses, named names. The organization he described was massive: drug trafficking, weapons smuggling, human trafficking, money laundering. The serpents had tentacles in every dirty corner of the East Coast. This warehouse in Red Hook, Ava pointed to the map. You're sure Salvatore uses it? Once a month for major transactions. Next meeting is in 6 days. Matteo circled a date on the calendar. If you want to catch him, that's your window. And if we raid it, you're exposed. I'm already exposed. That guard last night? That was them testing security, seeing if they could reach me. He leaned back. I'm dead either way. At least this way, I take them down with me. Ava studied him. This strange combination of the brother she'd lost and the killer he'd become. Why are you really doing this? It's not just survival. Matteo was quiet for a long moment. Because I'm tired. Tired of being Domenico's puppet. Tired of living in a world where trust gets you killed and weakness is death. He looked at the photo of young Leo still lying on the table. And because maybe there's a small part of that kid still inside me. The part that remembers what it felt like to be good. Before Ava could respond, the door burst open. Captain Morrison stood there, face thunderous.
Detetive Russo.
My office.
Now.
Ava had never seen Morrison this angry. He paced behind his desk like a caged animal. You ran an unauthorized DNA test on a suspect. You've been conducting unsupervised interrogations. And according to the report I just received, you've been withholding information about a familial relationship with a high-value target. He slammed his hands on the desk. What the hell were you thinking? Sir, I can explain. Explain? Try justify. Justify why I shouldn't suspend you right now and hand this case to Internal Affairs. Because Matteo DeLuca is offering full cooperation. He's willing to testify against the Serpents. Give us Domenico Salvatore on a silver platter. Ava stepped forward. Yes, he's my brother. Yes, I should have disclosed that immediately. But if you pull me now, you lose the only person he trusts. Trust. Morrison laughed harshly. He's a manipulator, Russo. This is what they do. They find your weakness and exploit it. He's using your guilt to get favorable treatment. He saved my parents last night. The Serpents threatened them, and Matteo sent word through his lawyers about a safe route out of the city. He's risking his life to help us. Morrison's expression shifted slightly. The bombing. That was connected. The Serpents know he's talking. They're trying to silence him and intimidate me. Ava pulled out the files Matteo had compiled. But in the last 2 hours, he's given us more intelligence on their operation than we've gathered in 5 years. Locations, names, transaction schedules. This is our chance to dismantle them completely. The captain flipped through the files, his anger warring with pragmatism. If this goes sideways, your career is over. You understand that? Yes, sir. And if DeLuca is playing you, if this is some elaborate escape plan or disinformation campaign, you'll take the fall. Not me. Not this department. You. I understand. Morrison studied her for a long moment. You really think he can be saved? That the brother you lost is still in there somewhere? Ava thought about Matteo's face when he'd talked about being 13, about the pain in his eyes when he'd said it got easier. I think he's trying to be, she said quietly. And that's worth fighting for. Morrison sighed, suddenly looking every one of his 58 years. You have 1 week. Make something happen with this intelligence, or I'm pulling you and handing DeLuca to the feds. He pointed at the door. And Russo? From now on, everything goes through me. No more solo interrogations. No more unauthorized tests. By the book. Yes, sir. As Ava left, Morrison called after her. For what it's worth, I hope you're right about him. I really do. Ava returned to the interrogation room where Matteo waited, still cuffed to the table. Well, he asked, am I getting you fired? Not yet. She sat down, pulled out a fresh notebook. We have 6 days to build a case against Salvatore. So let's get back to work. Matteo smiled, a real smile, small and uncertain, but genuine. For just a second, Ava saw Leo peeking through. 6 days to save the world, he said. No pressure. They worked until dawn broke through the windows, 2 siblings separated by 16 years of darkness, trying to find their way back to the light. The courthouse buzzed with reporters and cameras. Matteo's preliminary hearing had drawn every major news outlet. Mafia boss faces justice, splashed across morning headlines. Ava sat in the back row, watching lawyers in $1,000 suits prepare for battle. Matteo entered in an orange jumpsuit, wrists and ankles shackled. His eyes found hers immediately, something unreadable passing between them. 5 days of interrogations had given them enough evidence to move forward, but the legal system moved slower than the streets. Judge Patricia Chin presided, her reputation for being tough but fair preceding her. The prosecutor, an ambitious young DA named Williams, stood first. Your Honor, the defendant Matteo DeLuca stands accused of racketeering, drug trafficking, conspiracy to commit murder, and organized crime activities spanning 7 years. The state requests he remain in custody pending trial given the severity of charges and flight risk. Matteo's lead attorney rose, Marcus Blackwell, legendary defense lawyer who'd never lost a high-profile case. Silver-haired, shark-eyed, expensive. Too expensive for a mafia lieutenant, Ava thought. The serpents were funding his defense. Your Honor, Blackwell's voice was silk over steel. My client has been cooperative throughout this process. However, we have grave concerns about the legality of his arrest. Williams frowned. What concerns? The raid that led to Mr. DeLuca's arrest was based on an anonymous tip. The warrant application listed an informant, but we've subpoenaed the records and Blackwell held up documents. The so-called informant doesn't exist. No registered CI number, no handler documentation, nothing. Ava's blood went cold. She'd never questioned the informant's credentials. Martinez had handled that paperwork. Judge Chun leaned forward. Counselor Williams, can you verify the informant's legitimacy? Williams scrambled through his files, confusion spreading across his face. Your Honor, according to our records, the CI was registered through Detective Martinez's handler protocol. Show me the registration. The courtroom fell silent as Williams searched.
And searched.
His face went pale. Your Honor, there appears to be a clerical error. The registration form is missing key signatures. A clerical error? Blackwell pounced. Or a fabricated warrant. Your Honor, this is fruit of the poisonous tree. Everything stemming from that illegal raid should be suppressed. Judge Chen's expression hardened. Mr. Williams, do you have any evidence this raid was conducted legally? We acted in good faith based on the information provided. Good faith doesn't override constitutional rights. Chen removed her glasses. I'm troubled by these irregularities. Mr. Blackwell, what are you requesting? Dismissal of all charges and immediate release. The courtroom erupted. Reporters shouted questions. Ava stood, heart hammering, as Williams argued desperately. Your Honor, even if we exclude evidence from the raid, we have witness testimony, financial records. All discovered subsequent to an illegal arrest, Blackwell smiled. Poisonous tree, Your Honor. Every branch is tainted. Judge Chen banged her gavel. Order. Mr. Williams, I'm inclined to agree with defense counsel. However, given the seriousness of the charges, I'm not prepared to dismiss outright. She paused. Mr. DeLuca will be released to house arrest with GPS monitoring pending a full evidentiary hearing in 30 days. If the prosecution cannot establish legal grounds for the original arrest, all charges will be dismissed. Your Honor, Williams started. My ruling stands. Bail is set at $5 million. Blackwell didn't even blink. We'll post immediately. Ava pushed through the crowd, catching Martinez outside. What the hell happened? Who was the informant? Martinez looked stricken. I don't know. I swear, Ava, the paperwork looked legitimate. Someone must have forged it, planted false documentation. Who had access to those files? Half the department. IT, records, any senior detective. He grabbed her arm. This was a setup. Someone wanted that raid to be illegal. The pieces clicked into place. The serpents had planned this from the beginning. Allow Mateo to be arrested, then use legal technicalities to free him. They'd sacrifice their own hideout to make the arrest look legitimate, knowing their lawyers would dismantle it later. They're taking him home, Ava whispered. Back under their control. Can he refuse house arrest? Stay in custody voluntarily? And look suspicious? They'd know he was cooperating for sure. Ava watched through the courthouse windows as Mateo was processed for release. He's going back into the snake pit, and there's nothing we can do. That evening, Ava waited outside the courthouse as Mateo emerged, ankle monitor visible beneath expensive slacks. Blackwell flanked him on one side, two large men in suits on the other, handlers disguised as bodyguards. Their eyes met across the courthouse steps. Mateo's expression was carefully blank, but Ava saw the fear underneath. Mr. DeLuca, a reporter shouted. How does it feel to be free? Blackwell answered for him. My client is grateful the justice system recognized the constitutional violations in his case. He looks forward to clearing his name completely. The bodyguards, serpents enforcers, Ava realized, guided Mateo toward a waiting black SUV. As he passed, he stumbled slightly, bumping into a court officer. Apologizing, straightening, moving on. The officer didn't notice the piece of paper now in his pocket. But Ava did. She waited until the SUV disappeared, then approached the officer. "Excuse me, I think that man dropped something." The officer checked his pockets, finding the folded note.
Huh.
Weird, he handed it to Ava. "You want to return it? I'll make sure he gets it." In her car, Ava unfolded the note. Mateo's handwriting, hurried and desperate. "They're moving me to the estate in Westchester. Guards 24/7. I have 48 hours before Salvatore arrives to debrief me. Translation: interrogate and probably kill me. The Red Hook meeting is still happening in 3 days. They're accelerating it. If you're going to move now. The warehouse code is 4789. Northwest entrance has a blind spot at 2 a.m. This might be my last chance to help. If it goes wrong, tell Mom and Dad I'm sorry I couldn't come home. Tell them Leo remembered them at the end." Ava's hands shook. 48 hours. Less than 2 days before the serpents would torture the truth out of Mateo, discover his betrayal, and execute him. She pulled out her phone, calling Morrison. "Captain, I need to accelerate our timeline. Russo, we're not ready. We need more evidence, more surveillance. Mateo has 48 hours before they kill him. The Red Hook meeting is in 3 days. We move now, or we lose everything." Morrison was silent for a long moment. "You're asking me to authorize a major raid based on intelligence from a suspect who just got released on a technicality. Do you understand how this looks? I understand a man is going to die if we don't act. A man who's risking everything to take down an organization that's been operating with impunity for 30 years. Ava's voice cracked. "He's my brother, Captain. I can't lose him again." Another pause. Then, "Get me a tactical plan by midnight. If it's solid, we go tomorrow night." "Thank you, sir."
Russo.
"Don't make me regret this." Ava stared at Mateo's note, at the desperate handwriting that looked nothing like Leo's childhood scrawl but came from the same hand. 48 hours to save her brother. The clock was ticking. The Westchester estate sat behind iron gates and stone walls, lit up like a fortress. Ava watched from half a mile away through binoculars, counting guards. 8 visible, probably more inside. Mateo was a prisoner in everything but name. Her phone buzzed at 11 p.m. Unknown number. Greenhouse. East Side. Midnight.
Come alone.
Ava's pulse quickened. Getting onto the estate undetected was impossible. Unless. A second text. Gate code 9247. Guard rotation changes at 11:45. You'll have 12 minutes. There's a gap in the fence behind the oak grove. GPS coordinates attached. She should tell Morrison. Should bring backup. Should follow every protocol in the book. Instead, Ava checked her weapon and drove to Westchester. The estate was even more intimidating up close. Ava slipped through the fence gap at 11:47, mud soaking through her jeans as she crawled beneath the opening. The oak grove provided cover as she moved toward the greenhouse, a Victorian glass structure glowing faintly in the darkness. Mateo stood inside among the orchids, still wearing the ankle monitor, shadows under his eyes. "You came," he said when she slipped through the door. "You doubted I would." Smart people don't walk into Mafia estates alone, but relief flooded his face. "You have 12 minutes before the guards circle back. Then talk fast. What's so urgent you couldn't wait for the raid?" Mateo pulled out a small USB drive from inside a flower pot. Security footage from the last 6 months. Meeting recordings. Financial transactions. Everything you need to bury Salvatore and his top lieutenants. He pressed it into her hand. "But it's leverage only if I survive to testify. The raid is tomorrow night. We'll extract you then." "It won't work." Mateo turned away, hands clenched. "I know the Serpent's protocols. The moment your team breaches that warehouse, Salvatore will activate his escape protocol. He'll be gone in 90 seconds, and you'll have nothing but foot soldiers and empty promises. Then what do you suggest?" "I need to be inside." At the meeting, he faced her. "I convinced Salvatore I'm still loyal, that the arrest was just bad luck. I wear a wire, get him talking on record. When he incriminates himself, I signal your team. You breach, arrest everyone, and I walk out with you. Ava shook her head. That's suicide. One wrong word, and they'll know you're compromised. I've been lying to these people for 16 years. I can manage one more night. Mateo. Leo, the name came out strangled. When we're alone, call me Leo. I need to remember that person still exists. The vulnerability in his voice broke something in Ava. Leo, this is too dangerous. If we lose you, you already lost me. 16 years ago, he stepped closer. But maybe I can find my way back. Not to who I was, but to who I could be. Someone who doesn't have blood on his hands. Someone who could sit at a dinner table with his family, without them flinching. Mom and Dad don't care about your past. They just want you safe. And you? His eyes searched hers. What do you want, detective? Ava thought about the 12-year-old girl who'd promised to always protect her little brother. About 16 years of guilt and what-ifs. About the man standing before her, broken and dangerous and trying desperately to be good. I want my brother back, she whispered. But not at the cost of his life. Then help me do this right. Be my backup. My safety net. Leo's jaw set with determination. I've spent 16 years being Matteo De Luca. Let me spend one night being Leo Russo again. The Leo who fights back. Before Ava could respond, footsteps crunched on gravel outside. They both froze. He's in the greenhouse again, a voice said. Boss says he can have 10 more minutes, then back inside. Leo grabbed Ava, pulling her behind a row of tall ferns. They crouched in the darkness, barely breathing, as a guard's flashlight swept through the glass walls. Weird habit, another guard muttered. Who stares at flowers at midnight? Guy just got out of lockup. Let him have his weird habits. The footsteps faded. Leo's hand was still gripping Ava's arm, and she realized he was shaking. They're always watching, he breathed. Every second. Every conversation. I haven't been alone since the arrest. How did you get this meeting? Told them I needed air, needed to think. They allow the greenhouse because it's exposed, nowhere to run, easy to monitor. His grip tightened.
Ava, I'm scared.
For the first time in years, I'm actually terrified. She covered his hand with hers. That's good. Fear means you care about surviving. That you want a future. Do I have a future? Really? His voice cracked. Even if I testify, even if we take down the serpents, I've still done things, terrible things. The law won't forgive that. Maybe not. But we can ask for leniency. Witness protection, reduced sentence, therapy. Ava squeezed his hand. You were a child when they took you. A victim. That matters. I stopped being a victim the first time I pulled a trigger.
No.
You became a survivor. There's a difference. Leo looked at her, really looked, and something shifted in his expression. I used to dream about you, before I forced myself to forget. A girl with dark hair, who sang me to sleep. Who promised monsters weren't real. A bitter laugh. Turns out I became the monster instead. You're not a monster. Monsters don't risk everything to do the right thing. Then what am I? My brother, Ava said simply. And we don't abandon family. Tears tracked down Leo's face, the first time she'd seen him cry. He wiped them away quickly, ashamed. I'll do it, he said. The wire, the meeting, all of it. But I need you to promise me something. Anything. If it goes wrong, if they figure out I'm working with you, don't risk your team trying to save me. Just take Salvatore down and end this. His voice steadied. One life for hundreds they'll destroy if the serpents continue. That's a trade worth making. I'm not trading your life for anything. Ava. No. She stood, pulling him up with her. We do this together, and we both walk out alive. That's the deal. Leo smiled, sad and hopeful and terrified all at once. You always were stubborn. Runs in the family. Ava pulled out her phone, checking the time. You have 3 minutes before guards come back. Tell me about the warehouse layout. Every entrance, every camera, every possible escape route. For the next 2 minutes they planned. Leo sketched the building's interior on her phone, marked guard positions, identified Salvatore's likely location. There's a panic room, he said. Northeast corner, behind a false wall. If things go bad, Salvatore runs there.
Stale door, biometric lock.
You'll need shaped charges to breach it. How do you know about the panic room? Leo's expression darkened. That's where they take people who displease them. For final conversations. Ava didn't ask what he'd seen in that room. Didn't want to imagine.
Time's up, she said.
I need to go. Wait, Leo pulled something from his pocket. A worn photograph, creased and faded. Young Leo and young Ava at the beach, building sandcastles. I found this in my things. Somehow I kept it all these years, even when I didn't remember why it mattered. Ava's vision blurred. You kept this? Through everything. I think part of me always knew I belonged somewhere else. With someone else, he pressed the photo back into her hands. Keep it safe. When this is over, if we survive, I want to remember what happy looked like. Footsteps approached again. Ava slipped toward the back exit. Tomorrow night, she whispered.
2 a.m.
We end this. Together, Leo said. Together. She disappeared into the darkness, the photograph burning against her heart, her brother's terrified hope echoing in her mind. Tomorrow night, they'd either free him or lose him forever. The tactical briefing room hummed with tension. 20 officers, 2 SWAT teams, and Captain Morrison studied the warehouse schematics Ava had projected on the screen. This is the target. Ava pointed to the Red Hook warehouse. Intelligence indicates Domenico Salvatore will be present for a major transaction at 2 a.m. Our objective is capture, not confrontation. We go in fast, secure all exits, and extract high-value targets before they can activate escape protocols. Detective Barnes raised his hand. Source of this intelligence. Ava hesitated. Morrison stepped in. Confidential informant, currently embedded. Details are need to know. The CI will be wearing a wire, Ava continued. Call sign Bloodline when Bloodline gives the signal, a specific phrase. We breach simultaneously from 3 entry points. She walked them through the plan. SWAT teams at north and south entrances, her team taking the northwest blind spot Leo had identified. Snipers on adjacent buildings. Evacuation routes secured. Ambulances on standby. Martinez pulled her aside as the teams geared up. You're putting a lot of faith in DeLuca. What if it's a trap? It's not. How can you be sure? Because he's my brother. Because he's terrified and brave and trying to be someone worth saving. I just am, she said. At 1:30 a.m., Ava's team assembled 3 blocks from the warehouse. She checked her equipment. Vest, weapon, radio, backup weapon, flashbangs. Everything perfect. Everything ready. Her earpiece crackled. Bloodline is entering the building. Ava's heart hammered. Somewhere inside that warehouse, Leo was walking into the lion's den, wearing a wire thinner than a thread, his life dependent on maintaining a lie he'd lived for 16 years. She activated the wire feed. Leo's voice filled her ear, steady despite what he must be feeling.
Domenico.
Good to see you. Matteo, an older voice, gravelly with age and cigarettes.
Salvatore.
I was beginning to worry about your loyalty. The arrest was unfortunate, but your lawyers handled it perfectly. I told them nothing. So I heard. Still, the timing concerns me. A raid the very week we're moving our largest shipment in 5 years? Coincidence. Ava held her breath. What are you suggesting? Leo's voice carried just the right amount of offense. That I tip the cops? After everything you've done for me? I'm suggesting that pressure breaks even the strongest men. Prison changes people. I was there 3 days. Hardly enough time to develop a conscience. Laughter. Cold, assessing. Perhaps. Or perhaps Detective Russo got inside your head.
Pretty thing.
Did she try to save your soul, Matteo? Offer you redemption?
She tried.
I ignored her. Did you? Footsteps. Movement. Because my sources tell me she visited you. Multiple times. Long conversations. What did you discuss? Ava's hands clenched. They knew about the interrogations. She wanted information about our operations, Leo said smoothly. I fed her misinformation. Sent her chasing ghosts in Brooklyn while we work here in Red Hook. Clever. And the DNA test. Static burst through the feed. Ava's blood froze. How did Salvatore know about the DNA test? What DNA test? Leo's confusion sounded genuine. Don't play stupid. We have people inside the precinct. I know she tested your DNA against her database. A pause. Did she find what she was looking for? The silence stretched too long. Ava wanted to scream into the radio, to tell Leo what to say, but she could only listen. She thinks I'm her brother, Leo finally said. Kid who disappeared years ago. She's delusional, grasping at straws because she can't accept he's dead. And is she delusional? My parents died when I was 7. I have no siblings. She's seeing what she wants to see. Another pause. Ava imagined Salvatore studying Leo's face, looking for cracks. I believe you, Salvatore said. But belief isn't enough. I need proof of loyalty. Name it. The shipment arrives in 10 minutes. 5 million in product, headed to our distributors up north. I need someone I trust to oversee the transfer footsteps again. But first, I need you to eliminate a problem. Ava's stomach dropped. What problem?
Detective Russo.
She's become too interested in our operations. Too persistent, the sound of a gun being cocked.
Take this.
Go to the address I give you. Her parents are in protective custody, but we've located them. Kill them both. Bring me proof. Then I'll know where your loyalty truly lies.
No. No, no, no.
When? Leo's voice remained steady, but Ava heard the tremor underneath.
Now.
I'll have men escort you. The shipment can wait until you return. This wasn't the plan. Leo was supposed to get Salvatore talking, get a confession on tape, signal for the raid. Not be sent to murder their parents. Ava grabbed her radio. All teams, situation changing. Prepare to breach on my signal. Leo's voice cut through. I understand the order. But, respectfully, Domenico, I have a better solution. Oh. Detective Russo is the real problem. Kill her parents, she'll dedicate her life to hunting us. She'll never stop. A pause. But kill her, and the investigation loses its driving force. Her parents become irrelevant. You're suggesting we eliminate a police detective?
I'm suggesting I eliminate det här. Personally. Tonight.
Before she gets any closer to discovering our operations. Ava's breath caught. What was he doing? She trusts me, Leo continued. Thinks I'm her long-lost brother, that she can save me. I can lure her out, make it look like I'm defecting. When she shows up alone, I kill her. Quietly. No connection to you. Salvatore laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Matteo, you never cease to surprise me.
Yes.
Yes, I like this plan. It's poetic. The grieving sister, murdered by the brother she tried to save. Give me 2 hours. I'll call when it's done. And if you fail? I won't fail. I've never failed you, Domenico. I'm not starting now. Footsteps. Movement. Leo's voice grew distant as he walked toward the warehouse exit. Oh, and Matteo? Salvatore called. Leave the wire. The one you're wearing under your collar. Silence. Absolute, terrible silence. Then Salvatore's voice, cold and final. Did you really think we wouldn't check? That we wouldn't sweep for devices before a meeting this important? A click, a safety being released. You disappoint me. After all these years, after everything I taught you, you choose them over family. You're not my family, Leo said quietly. You never were. Gunfire exploded through the feed. All teams breach now. Ava screamed into the radio. Officer down, breach now. The warehouse erupted into chaos. Flashbangs, shouting, automatic weapons fire. Ava's team hit the northwest entrance, blowing the door with shaped charges. Smoke and noise and movement everywhere. She fought through the maze of crates and shipping containers, following the wire's last known location. Bodies littered the floor, serpent soldiers, some already in cuffs, others still firing. Bloodline, where are you? She shouted into her radio. Static. Then weak. Northeast. Corner. Panic room. Ava ran, Martinez and 2 SWAT members covering her. The panic room door stood open, pried apart by emergency release. Inside, Leo lay against the wall, blood spreading across his shirt from a shoulder wound. But he was alive, weapon in hand, pointed at a cowering Domenico Salvatore. I couldn't do it, Leo said, looking at Ava. Couldn't pull the trigger. Even after everything, I couldn't become him completely. Ava kicked Salvatore's gun away, cuffed him herself. You're under arrest for attempted murder, conspiracy, racketeering. Save it, Salvatore spat. You have nothing. No confession, no evidence that'll stand up in court. Leo smiled, pained but victorious. Actually, about that confession, he pulled a second recording device from his boot. You really should sweep more thoroughly. The color drained from Salvatore's face. Paramedics rushed in, stabilizing Leo. As they loaded him onto a stretcher, he grabbed Ava's hand. Did we do it? She looked at the USB drive of evidence, at Salvatore in handcuffs, at the warehouse full of arrested serpents.
Yeah, Leo.
We did it. He smiled, then passed out. The hospital waiting room smelled of antiseptic and bad coffee. Ava paced while surgeons worked on Leo's shoulder wound. Through and through, they'd said, painful, but not life-threatening. Around her, the team celebrated. Salvatore in custody, 15 serpents arrested, 5 million in drugs seized. Victory tasted like ash in Ava's mouth. He'll be fine, Martinez assured her. Bullet missed the artery by inches.
Lucky.
Her brother had been shot because she'd sent him into a death trap. Because someone had warned Salvatore about the wire. How did they know? Ava said aloud. About the wire, the DNA test, all of it. Martinez's smile faded. What do you mean? Salvatore knew details only we knew. Someone inside fed him information. She turned to face him. Someone in the department is working for the serpents. Morrison appeared from the hallway, face grim.
Huso.
We need to talk.
Now.
They moved to a private consultation room. Morrison closed the door, and Ava saw real fear in his eyes. Your parents' safe house was compromised 20 minutes ago. The world tilted. What? Armed men breached the location. 4 officers down. 2 critical. Your parents, he paused. They're gone.
Taken.
Ava's knees buckled. Martinez caught her, lowered her into a chair. How? She whispered. Only 5 people knew that location. 6, counting me. Morrison pulled out his phone, showing her a text message time-stamped from 2 hours ago. Safe house location, 247, Riverside Drive, apartment 8C. Extract the parents.
Alive.
Payment on delivery. This came from an encrypted number. We're tracing it, but he looked sick. Someone with access to our secure files sent this. Someone in this precinct. Ava forced herself to think past the panic. Who had access to the safe house file?
Me. You.
Martinez. Barnes from SWAT. And Morrison's jaw clenched. Lieutenant Davis from Internal Affairs. He requested access this morning, said it was part of a corruption investigation. Davis. Ava stood, rage replacing fear. Where is he now? That's the problem. He didn't show up for the raid debrief. No one's seen him since 10 p.m. Ava was already moving toward the door. Martinez blocked her path. Ava, wait. You can't just. My parents are in the hands of the same people who tortured my brother for 16 years. Get out of my way. Let her go, Morrison said quietly. But take backup. And Russo? Bring them home. Lieutenant Davis lived in a brownstone in Brooklyn Heights, too nice for a cop's salary. Ava and Martinez approached from opposite sides, weapons drawn, for uniforms providing perimeter. The front door hung open. Inside, the house had been ransacked. Furniture overturned, drawers emptied, papers scattered. Someone had left in a hurry. Clear. Martinez called from the kitchen. But you need to see this. A laptop sat open on the counter, still logged in. The screen showed encrypted chat logs, months of conversations between Davis and someone identified only as the handler. Ava scrolled through, bile rising in her throat. Davis, The Russo girl is running DNA tests on DeLuca. Handler, monitor and report. Payment doubled if you can delay results. Davis, warrant for the Red Hook raid is being prepared. Date TBD. Handler, ensure technical errors in the paperwork. We need DeLuca released. Davis,
Done. Filed falsifeggi documentation.
judge will have to dismiss. He sabotaged the arrest. Martinez breathed. Made it illegal on purpose. Ava kept scrolling, each message another knife in her gut. Davis had fed the serpents everything: raid times, safe house locations, witness protection details. How many people had died because of his betrayal? The most recent message was from 30 minutes ago. Davis, they know. Extracting now. Wire the final payment to the account. Handler, payment pending delivery of the parents. Alive and unharmed. Location, warehouse at Pier 52. You have 1 hour. Ava grabbed her radio. All available units, converge on Pier 52. Hostage situation, suspects are armed and extremely dangerous. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. A video message. Her finger trembled as she pressed play. The footage showed her parents bound to chairs in a dark warehouse, bruised but alive. Vincent's left eye was swollen shut. Maria's lip was bleeding. Behind them stood Lieutenant Davis, gun in hand, looking nothing like the dedicated cop Ava had worked alongside for 3 years. Detective Russo, Davis's voice came through the speakers. I imagine you found my house by now. Found the evidence. I want you to know this wasn't personal. The serpents pay better than the NYPD, and they take care of their own. He walked closer to the camera, his expression almost apologetic. Here's the deal. You have Salvatore. We want him back. Trade his freedom for your parents' lives. He checked his watch. You have 45 minutes to get him released and delivered to Pier 52.
Come alone.
Any signs of backup, any tricks, and your parents die. Then we'll kill every cop in this city until the serpents get what they want. The camera panned to Maria, who was crying silently. Vincent stared directly into the lens. Ava, don't do it, he said, voice hoarse. Don't you dare trade that monster for us. You end this. You. Davis struck him across the face with the gun. Blood sprayed. 45 minutes, detective. Clocks ticking. The video ended. Ava stood frozen, the phone in her hand, her parents' terrified faces burned into her mind. Around her, the team waited for orders, for leadership, for a miracle. Get Morrison on the line, she said quietly. And get me transport to Pier 52. Ava, you can't seriously be considering. Martinez started. I'm not trading Salvatore. She looked at him, and whatever he saw in her eyes made him step back. But I'm not letting them kill my parents either. She pulled out her phone, dialing the hospital. This is Detective Russo. I need to speak with the patient in room 347. It's urgent. A moment later, Leo's weak voice came through. Ava, what's wrong? They have mom and dad. They want Salvatore in exchange. Silence. Then, tell me the plan.
There is no plan.
I can't risk. You saved me, Leo interrupted. Now, let me save them. Our parents, Ava. Our family, his voice strengthened. I've spent 16 years being Matteo DeLuca, ruthless and calculating. One more night won't kill me. But doing nothing while they murder our parents will. You're injured. You can barely walk. Then it's a good thing I won't have to walk far. She heard movement, grunting in pain. Discharge me. Against medical advice if you have to. Get me to Pier 52-inch.
Lao.
Please, his voice cracked. Let me be the brother who protects his family. Just this once. Let me be the person I should have been. Ava looked at Martinez, at the evidence of betrayal surrounding them, at the countdown on her phone showing 42 minutes remaining. Sometimes there were no good choices. Only impossible ones. Get a car ready, she told Martinez. And someone find me a ballistic vest that fits a man with a gunshot wound. Martinez's eyes widened. You're serious. Dead serious. She headed for the door. We're getting my parents back. All of us. Together. And if it goes wrong? Ava thought about Leo's note from the estate. Tell them Leo remembered them at the end. Then we make sure it doesn't. Pier 52 loomed against the night sky, a skeletal structure of rusted metal and broken windows. Ava checked her watch. 11 minutes until the deadline. Leo sat beside her in the surveillance van, pale and sweating despite the painkillers, his injured arm in a makeshift sling under his jacket. You don't have to do this, she said for the third time. Yes, I do. Leo adjusted the wire hidden beneath his collar, a new one, better concealed. I know how Davis thinks. How the serpents operate. You need me. Morrison's voice crackled through their earpieces. SWAT teams in position. Snipers have visual on 3 hostiles inside, plus Davis. Your parents are northwest corner, 20 feet from the main entrance. Extraction route? Ava asked. Blocked by cargo containers. You'll have to go through the front. Leo studied the warehouse schematic on the tablet. There's a catwalk above the main floor. If I can get up there, I can provide cover while you extract Mom and Dad. You can barely stand. I can shoot. That's all that matters, he met her eyes. Trust me, Ava. One last time. She wanted to say no. Wanted to lock him in the van where he'd be safe. But the determination in his face, that was pure Leo, the little boy who'd refused to give up even when the sandcastle kept collapsing. Okay, she breathed. We do this together. They approached the warehouse from opposite sides. Ava moved through shadows, weapon drawn, every sense screaming danger. Through the broken windows, she could see her parents still alive, still breathing. Leo circled toward the east entrance, heading for the service stairs to the catwalk. His voice whispered through the earpiece. In position. Climbing now. Ava counted his labored breaths, knowing every step cost him. But he didn't stop. Catwalk secured, he finally said. I have clear sight lines. Hold for my signal. Ava approached the main entrance, hands visible, weapon holstered. I'm coming in. Don't shoot. She pushed through the door. Davis stood in the center of the warehouse, gun pressed to Vincent's head. 3 serpents flanked him, all armed. Maria sobbed quietly, her hands bound so tightly her fingers were purple. Detective Russo, Davis smiled. Prompt as always. Where's Salvatore? In federal custody. I can't just walk him out of a holding cell. Then I guess we're at an impasse, he cocked his gun. Goodbye, Vincent. Wait. Ava raised her hands. I brought something better. Something the serpents want more than Salvatore. What could possibly be? Me, Leo's voice echoed from the catwalk above. Every head turned upward. You want leverage? Insurance?
Take me.
I know all of Salvatore's secrets, his operations, his offshore accounts. Everything you need to rebuild. Davis's eyes widened. DeLuca, you're supposed to be in the hospital. Turns out I'm hard to kill. Leo appeared at the railing, his weapon pointed at Davis. Here's the new deal. Release my parents, and I'll tell you where Salvatore hid $200 million in untraceable assets. Fight me, and this warehouse becomes your tomb. One of the serpents laughed. You're 1 injured man against 4 of us. The math doesn't work, DeLuca, doesn't it? Leo smiled, cold and dangerous. Pure Matteo DeLuca. You think I came alone? Look at the red dots on your chests. The serpents glanced down. Laser sights, 3 of them, painted their torsos from the darkness beyond the windows. SWAT snipers. Leo continued conversationally. 1 word from me, and you're all dead. So, let's negotiate like civilized people. Davis's jaw clenched. This is a setup. The moment we release the hostages, you'll leave safely. You have my word, Leo's voice softened. I know what it's like to be trapped by the serpents. To feel like you have no choice. Walk away now, and maybe you survive this. For a moment, Ava saw doubt flicker across Davis's face. Then his expression hardened. Your word means nothing. You're a traitor.
To us. To them.
To everyone, he swung his gun toward Maria. If I'm going down, I'm taking. Leo fired. The bullet caught Davis in the shoulder, spinning him away from Maria. Chaos erupted. The serpents returned fire, bullets pinging off metal. Leo ducked behind the catwalk railing, providing covering fire as Ava dove toward her parents. Go, go, go. Morrison's voice commanded. SWAT teams breached from 3 sides, flashbangs turning the warehouse into a strobing nightmare. Ava reached her parents, cutting their bonds with her knife. Can you run? Yes, Vincent gasped. Get your mother out. A serpent appeared from behind a container, weapon raised. Ava fired twice, center mass. He dropped. She hauled her parents up, half carrying Maria toward the exit. Gunfire stitched the air above them. A SWAT officer provided cover, returning fire as they ran. Ava! Leo's scream cut through the chaos. She turned. Davis had climbed the catwalk stairs, gun raised, pointing directly at Vincent's back. Blood poured from his shoulder wound, but his hand was steady. This is for ending my career, he snarled. Time slowed. Ava was too far away. Her weapon was empty, her parents stumbling toward safety. She watched Davis's finger tighten on the trigger. And then Leo was there. He slammed into Davis from the side, driving them both against the railing. The gun fired. Once, twice, bullets sparking off metal. The railing groaned, bolts shearing under their combined weight. Leo, no! Ava screamed. But he wasn't stopping. Leo drove Davis backward, heedless of his own wound, fighting with desperate strength. His fist connected with Davis's face. Again. Again. The railing gave way. They fell together, 20 feet to the concrete floor below. The impact echoed like thunder. Cease fire. Morrison commanded. Secure the area. Ava ran to where they'd fallen. Davis lay motionless, neck bent at an impossible angle.
Dead.
Leo lay 3 feet away, blood pooling beneath him from his reopened shoulder wound and a new injury, his leg bent wrong, bone visible through torn fabric. No, no, no. Ava dropped beside him, pressing her hands against the wounds. Medic. I need a medic now. Leo's eyes fluttered open.
Mom. Dad.
Safe.
Yes.
Yes, they're safe. You saved them. Good, he smiled weakly.
That's
what brothers do. Don't talk. Save your strength. Help is coming. Ava, his hand found hers, slick with blood.
Tell Dad.
Tell him Leo came home. You tell him yourself. You're going to be fine. Tell him, Leo insisted, his voice fading. Promise me. Paramedics swarmed around them, pushing Ava aside. She watched helplessly as they worked. Tourniquets, chest compressions, frantic medical terminology she didn't understand. Her parents appeared beside her. Maria collapsed, reaching for Leo. Vincent held her back, tears streaming down his weathered face. That's my son, he whispered. That's my boy. The paramedics loaded Leo onto a stretcher. One of them looked at Ava, his expression grim. He's lost a lot of blood. We're doing everything we can. They rushed him toward the ambulance, Ava running alongside. Leo's eyes opened one more time, finding hers. Did I do good? You did perfect, Ava choked out. You were perfect. He smiled, that same gap-toothed grin from childhood photos, and then the ambulance doors closed, sirens wailing as it sped into the night. Ava stood in the warehouse, surrounded by arrest teams and evidence markers and the body of a traitor, and prayed to every god she'd never believed in. Please let him survive. Not for justice. Not for testimony. Just because he was her brother. And she'd only just gotten him back. 3 weeks later, Ava walked through the familiar hospital corridors carrying a small bag and an envelope from the DA's office. Leo's room was on the 4th floor, the one with a police guard stationed outside, a formality now, but protocol demanded it. The guard nodded her through. Leo sat propped against pillows, his left arm in a cast, his leg elevated in traction. The monitors beeped steadily, alive, healing, surviving against odds that had terrified them all. He'd coded twice in surgery, spent 5 days in ICU, but he'd fought his way back. Stubborn. Just like their father. You look better, Ava said, settling into the chair beside his bed. Liar, but he smiled. The doctors say I can start physical therapy next week. Might walk with a limp forever, but he shrugged with his good shoulder. Beats the alternative. Beats dying, you mean? That too. They sat in comfortable silence. Through the window, New York sprawled below, loud and chaotic and alive. Leo watched it with an expression Ava couldn't quite read. Mom and Dad want to visit today, she said. Dad's bringing something. Won't tell me what. How are they? Really? Shaken. Grateful. They've been staying at my apartment, driving me crazy with worry. Ava pulled out her phone, showing him photos. Mom's been cooking nonstop. I think she's made enough pasta to feed the entire precinct. Leo laughed, then winced as the movement pulled his injuries. She used to do that when I was little. Whenever she was stressed, she'd cook. The kitchen would smell like garlic and tomatoes for days. You remember that? More and more, his eyes grew distant. It's like someone turned on a light in a dark room. Things I buried for 16 years keep surfacing. Your voice reading bedtime stories. Dad teaching me to ride a bike. The sound of Mom singing while she cleaned. He looked at her.
I'm remembering Leo. Slowly.
Piece by piece. Ava's throat tightened. That's good. That's really good. Is it? Leo's expression darkened. Because I also remember what Mateo did. The people I hurt. The orders I followed. He gestured to the handcuff loosely attached to his bed rail, symbolic more than secure, given his injuries. I'm still a criminal, Ava. Remembering my childhood doesn't erase my adulthood. She'd been dreading this conversation. Ava pulled out the envelope from the DA's office. The prosecutor offered a deal. You testify against the remaining Serpent's leadership, provide all intelligence on their operations, and they'll recommend 20 years instead of life. With good behavior, you could be out in 12-inch. 12 years, Leo processed this. I'd be 34. It's not freedom, but it's a chance. Ava leaned forward. The DA emphasized your cooperation, the fact that you were kidnapped as a child, forced into this life. The judge is sympathetic. Some victims' families even wrote letters supporting leniency, saying your testimony helped close their cases. And the families of people I actually hurt? What did they write? Ava didn't answer. They both knew. Leo was quiet for a long moment. I'll take the deal. 20 years is more than fair for what I've done.
Leo.
No, it is. I killed people, Ava. Destroyed lives. I don't get to walk away from that just because I had a tragic backstory. His voice steadied with conviction. But maybe I can spend those years becoming someone worth redemption. Get my GED. Take college courses. Help other kids who get pulled into gangs before it's too late. I'll visit every week, Ava promised. And Mom and Dad will finally get to know their son again. The real version, not the ghosts they've been mourning, he smiled sadly. 12 years to figure out who Leo Russo actually is. That's a gift, not a punishment. The door opened. Vincent and Maria entered, Maria carrying a covered dish, Vincent clutching something wrapped in tissue paper.
Leo.
Maria rushed to his bedside, careful of his injuries. She kissed his forehead, fussing over his pillows. You look thin. Are they feeding you? I brought lasagna, your favorite, or at least it used to be. It still is. Leo's voice cracked. I remember. You'd make it for special occasions. Extra cheese, the way I liked it. Maria's eyes filled with tears. You remember. I'm trying to. Every day. Vincent approached slowly, almost hesitant. The last 3 weeks had aged him, but something had lifted too. The weight of 16 years of not knowing finally gone. Son, he said simply. Then, awkwardly, I brought you something. He handed over the tissue-wrapped package. Leo unwrapped it carefully with his good hand. A drawing, faded with age, creased from storage, but unmistakable. 2 stick figures holding hands under a sun with feathers radiating outward. Crayon letters at the bottom spelled AVA and Leo forever, in a child's unsteady hand. Leo's fingers traced the drawing, the same one he'd kept as a photograph, the same symbol tattooed on his neck. You drew this when you were 4, Vincent said quietly. The night before we left for Sicily. You wanted to give it to Ava, but you fell asleep before you could. Your mother kept it all these years. Couldn't bear to throw it away. Leo stared at the drawing, at proof of who he'd been before the serpent stole him. His shoulders shook. Tears fell, and he didn't wipe them away. I'm sorry, he choked out. I'm so sorry I forgot you. That I became someone who could forget. Stop, Vincent gripped his good shoulder.
You survived.
That's all that matters. You survived and you came back to us. Not the way we imagined, but back nonetheless. Maria climbed carefully onto the bed beside Leo, holding him as he cried, 16 years of grief and trauma and lost childhood finally breaking free. Vincent wrapped his arms around them both. Ava stood back, giving them space, her own tears flowing freely. A knock on the door. Captain Morrison entered, looking uncomfortable at the emotional scene. Sorry to interrupt, but he addressed Leo. The DA needs your signature on the plea agreement, and the feds want to schedule your testimony for next month. Leo wiped his eyes, straightening as much as his injuries allowed. I'm ready. Morrison's expression softened. For what it's worth, son, what you did took real courage. You saved a lot of lives. And ended others, Leo said quietly. I can't forget that. Won't forget that. Good. The ones who forget are the dangerous ones, Morrison nodded to Ava. Take your time. We'll handle the paperwork later. After he left, the family sat together in the hospital room, broken and healing and finally impossibly whole. What happens now? Maria asked, still holding Leo's hand. Now I pay my debt, Leo said. I testify, I serve my time, and I try to become someone you can be proud of. We're already proud, Vincent said firmly. You're our son. Nothing changes that. Leo looked at each of them, his mother, his father, his sister, and something settled in his expression. Not peace, exactly, but acceptance. I'm going to miss so much, he said. Birthdays, holidays, watching Ava's career, just being a family. We'll write, Ava promised. Every week. Phone calls when we can. And we'll be there when you get out. All of us. 12 years is a long time. We waited 16, Vincent reminded him. We can wait 12 more. Maria pressed something into Leo's palm, a small medallion with a sun and feathers etched into the silver. Your guardian symbol, she whispered. To remind you that you're protected, that you're loved, that you're never alone. Leo clutched it tightly, this tangible proof of family and forgiveness. Outside the window, the sun broke through clouds, casting light across the hospital room. The monitors beeped their steady rhythm. The city hummed with life. And for the first time in 16 years, Leo Russo closed his eyes and felt something he'd forgotten existed. Hope. Not for freedom, that would come later, but for redemption, for family, for home. I love you, he whispered to the room. All of you. I never stopped, even when I couldn't remember why. Ava squeezed his hand. We love you too, little brother. Welcome home. The future was uncertain, trials and testimony, prison and parole. But in that moment, none of it mattered, because the Russo family was whole again. Broken, perhaps. Scarred, certainly. But whole. And sometimes that was enough.